Well, thank you again, everyone. Really appreciate you coming out. Tonight is going to be a great experience for you where you get to learn a lot about remodeling, whether that is planning the right materials for you. There are many things to consider about a remodel, and that's our purpose tonight, is to help you design your dream remodel. And we're going to have several speakers. From Cipriani Remodeling, we have one of our designers, Anne, who's going to lead the presentation. We also have several of our designers around that you can speak with later about your project. We have Tamara in the doorway, and Manny, Jed seated right here, and Ed. So we'll be at your disposal to bounce some ideas off of, give you some insights into your planning. And then also Avalon is going to be presenting some tile trends and speak about some of their products and services also. Yeah. So now is a great time to remodel. People are investing in their properties all the time. If you've kind of explored the home market, you know that it's kind of tough to move, plus moving isn't always the best option. You might have been in your home for many years, you've had many memories as you've raised your family, you love your neighbors, you love your school district, whatever that might be. People are investing in their homes in order to improve rather than to move. And we know that you're not alone. We have statistics from the Housing Joint Studies of Harvard University. They track these statistics, and this year alone, Americans across the nation will invest $640 billion, with a B, $billion into remodeling and improving their home. We feel confident about that projection because we know from 2025 that number in that year was $625 billion. So we always see it increasing, and that just means that, again, you're not alone. It's the right thing to do for upgrade of maintenance, but as we also like to think, how can you improve your home in the way that you use it and enjoy it with your family? So a little bit about Cipriani Remodeling. We have been in business for coming up on 48 years now. We have always been based in South Jersey, and we are a custom remodeler. And that means we have the full capabilities to design your project, to plan it so that it's right for you, and then build it using best practices, including the right installation techniques, the right materials behind the walls that are going to improve the return on investment and the way that your project will last much longer because of that. And well, I won't tell everything that Anne has to share. I'll save a little bit. But we are known for these types of projects that we're going to be discussing tonight. They call us because we are experts in kitchens and bathrooms, fitting out basements, and doing addition projects. So also speaking is Pam. I wanted to introduce her, and there'll be the time for her presentation, but I'll turn it over to Anne now.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you all for coming. I appreciate you here. It looks like we have a great audience, and lots of people filled the front row, so good job. So tonight, let me just talk about our agenda a little bit. So how do you begin a process of doing a renovation? I'm sure some of you have exactly what you want to do for your project, and some of you have absolutely no idea. So I'm going to help you to decide how to begin your project. Talk about a 5-step process. Builders should always have a process. So whomever you're hiring to do your project, they should have a process. So we're going to talk a little bit about our process and how that would benefit you. We'll talk a lot about the latest design styles because, of course, you have to know what's cool and what's not. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then we'll have an opportunity for you to ask questions. If at any time in the middle of the presentation you have a question, just raise your hand and I'll be happy to answer. So how do you begin? As I said, does anyone have a full understanding of exactly what they want their project to look like? Anybody? Okay, all right. Some people really do. We go to their home and they have a complete list. You do. Okay, all right, good. Some people have no idea where to begin. So when you're talking to multiple contractors, and I'm sure you're in the beginning stages that you're going to want to talk to 1 or 2 or 3 different contractors about your project, it's good to have somewhat of an idea. It doesn't have to be the exact idea, just have somewhat of an idea. What's your favorite color? What do you like about your kitchen now? What do you not like about your kitchen now? What's one of your pain points? How do you function in your kitchen? Who cooks? Is it 1 cook or 2 cook? So you want to try to have a little bit of an idea of what you're trying to accomplish. That will help to have a more productive conversation when the contractor comes out and visits. It's also nice to have some inspiration pictures. Maybe you've gone on Houzz, maybe you've gone on Pinterest, maybe you have some pictures on Instagram that you have seen that thought, oh, this kitchen or this bathroom is really nice. So have them ready for the contractor to show them that too. Think about your investment goals. This is something you should think about early on. It's not that we want to be nosy by knowing your investment. It's helpful to know what you would like to invest so that when a contractor comes in, they can plan your project based on some of your budgetary goals. Sometimes your budget aligns perfectly with what the project will cost, and sometimes it doesn't. So it would help to have just a bit of an idea. If you have any kind of checklist that you want to put together of your goals, write them down. You know, things that are important to you, things that have driven you crazy for the past 10 years about your project. So come up with a little checklist for us. And all these things, if you have these all in place, it will help you to have a more productive visit with your contractor. So how do you choose the right contractor? So there's so many out there. All you have to do is, Google contractor and 100,000 people come up. So there's lots of different types of contractors. And I want to talk to you about how to go about finding the right one and choosing the right direction. Some people say, I forget your name. Pat?
Yeah.
Pat. Some people say, like Pat, like she really needs a designer to do the project. And some people jump right in and they hire a designer to help them figure out the project. Some people, if you're doing an addition, jump right in and call an architect and say, draw these plans, make them perfect for me. I want to do this great project. All those things are nice. The designer's wonderful, the architect is wonderful, but when you are introduced to the builder down the road, a lot of time the builder says, not sure that's going to work, or maybe we can do it a better way, or this dream is going to cost you $500,000, and you say, oh my gosh, no, I can't do that. And then you have to start over with the builder. So it's not always the best approach early on to bring in a designer or bring in an architect early on. You want someone who can do it all for you. Another way, if it's a small project, is you can just get a handyman. If you're hanging a picture or changing a faucet or something really simple, a handyman's fine. But if you're doing a larger project, make sure you're hiring the right person. Another way is to bring in a general contractor. General contractors are wonderful. They'll do a beautiful job for you, but you are going to be involved in the process. You might have to be the one to go pick out your own tile. You might have to be the one to have your tile delivered to the house. You might have to go pick out your faucets, your sink, your countertops, your cabinets. You might have to do all that on your own, and that's very, very hard to do. When I do a kitchen, I have a checklist of just 157 basic things that I have to do in a kitchen. So if you can do all those 157 things, by all means, go to a general contractor. The way we like to do it is we are a design build firm, and I'll get into that a little bit more about design build and what a design build firm does. But before you go to that next step, and before I talk to you a little bit about design build, I want to make sure when you hire a contractor, any contractor you hire, make sure they're licensed, make sure they're insured, make sure they have a hefty workman's comp policy. And don't just trust that they have that. Make sure you ask them for the certifications. And some of these are obvious, and a lot of these things I know you probably already know, but being in the business for so long, we've seen a lot of horror stories. So you want to make sure you do your homework up front. Get references, old and new. Make sure you get a reference from someone who just did a project. Make sure you get a reference from someone who did a project 5 years ago, because you want to know how that project has lasted over time. You want to make sure that they were able to come back and fix a problem if a problem did arise. How long have they been in business? Did you know that most contractors go out of business within the first 5 years that they are open? So you want a contractor who has a lot of longevity. You want that person to come back if you have a problem after 3 years. Speaking of problems later, you want a contractor who has good warranties. In New Jersey, in New Jersey, I don't think, tell me that about New Jersey's warranty.
For warranty?
Yeah.
it's really kind of surprising because there is none. All you have to do is provide the length of time in writing. So it could be 1 day, could be 1 year. There's no minimum length of time.
It's really important to have a good warranty and a long warranty. 1 year is not enough. A 1-year warranty, nothing's going to happen in your project the first year you have it. It's going to be perfect, it's going to be beautiful. But after your project goes through a few seasons, a lot of times something might happen. The caulk might separate from the crown molding, or you might have a nail pop. Even though those things are tiny and you could probably fix them yourself, you don't want to fix them yourself. You want the contractor to be able to come back. So you want someone with at least a warranty of 3 years or more. Allowances and materials and selections. How much are they giving you to do this project? Are they giving you a square foot allowance for tile of $2 a square foot? Pam, can I get anything for $2 a square foot anymore? Probably not.
I'd make it 10. Write it down.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that the allowances they give you are decent, healthy allowances so that you can get what you want. There's nothing worse than having you fall in love with something and having us say, nah, sorry, you can't get that. That's too much. That's out of your budget. So make sure they're giving you good allowances. Make sure they use the right materials. There is a difference between a toilet that comes from a big box store and a toilet that comes from a plumbing supply store. They look the same. They're the same color. They seem to do the same thing, but what you're not seeing is the insides. The insides are made differently. So you want to make sure the materials are coming from proper places, not just, the local hardware store. What are their techniques that they use when they build? Make sure they're using the best building science. Make sure that their employees are continually trained on the best building science. Make sure the materials they use, Pam will probably talk a little bit about, different ways to set tiles with the proper setting ways, which is using the Schluter shower system, which is a waterproofing system. So make sure they're using all the proper things. Any questions on contractors and how to choose the right contractor? Yeah.
When you say get references,
Yeah.
but if you ask them for references, they're going to give you anybody's need to give them the bad reference. What's the point?
Well, I think you can get a good idea from anyone you call. So if you were to call me and I were to give a reference on somebody that did a job for me, even if I loved them, I would still tell you about the journey and how the experience was. You need to ask the right questions. You need to ask, were they on time? How often were they there? Did they work for 2 weeks and leave for 2 weeks? Were they on schedule? So you need to prompt that conversation a little bit. But you're right, nobody's going to give a reference of someone who had a horrible experience. But you can find all those on reviews on Google or Yelp. Make sure you read them. People love to say bad things on Google.
Also contact the Better Business Bureau.
Yes.
And they'll give you negative information, especially if anybody's reported the contractor to the Better Business Bureau.
I think a great prompting question, like Ann was saying, is to, we all recognize that when you're remodeling, no project ever goes perfectly. There's going to be one point where there was a little bit of stress. Ask about that point, and most importantly, how did they respond? Because that's what we are always about. It's why Solutions is part of our name, is we emphasize that as things happen, we will always have a solution ready to go when we encounter some challenges. So that might be a good way to really understand, is this a completely honest recommendation or is something else?
Definitely a good way. Yeah.
I watched the home show.
Oh, we love him.
You want to add, add an addition to your house, you should get somebody, go get the references. You should do 5 years or more because they see how long it lasts.
Right.
I saw some people had friends or let's say your neighbors, okay, so their house is done correctly, but when they come to your house, they don't do it correctly. So it's not always the mean that because they did an ugly job on one house, they won't come in and move well. So
True.
I like to make sure that I pick someone that's not my family or close friends, get up and I be their friend no more.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Pick someone you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And like Ann said, you can have 1, 2, 3 people. Who are you most comfortable with? It's not going to come down to dollars and cents. It's going to come down to who you feel comfortable with, along with those references.
So we talked about a couple different types of ways to choose your contractor, but the one way that we recommend and we have learned over the years is the best way for our homeowners is design build. So design build firm is a type of construction company where everything happens under one roof, one team, and one shared vision. So we take everything from concept to completion. So starting with the designer who comes out to visit you the very first time and takes it all the way till the very last nail is hammered into your project and our quality control inspection is done. So you're not dealing with a lot of different people. We will assist you with choosing your tile. We will assist you with choosing your fixtures. We'll assist you with the layout. Your project manager will handle the details of your build, so you're not having to deal with all the different 157 things that have to go on with your kitchen. So a design build takes it all in, and we do everything for you. So it's a real seamless way to have a project. Another thing is you need to have a process. Your builder has to have a process. Just a little story for a second. Before I worked with Cipriani, I worked for a company and 80 builders were my accounts. So I dealt with 80 builders and they would send their clients to me and I'd help with their selections, I'd help with their layout, and I'd help them put their project together. I always found it extremely frustrating to deal with the builders. Just to clarify, Cipriani was not my account back then. So I always thought it was really frustrating to build with them because nobody had a process. The client would come in and I'd say, okay, great, how much can you spend on your tile? And they're like, I don't know. Like, okay, how big is your shower? I don't know. When is your project starting? I don't know. And then the contractor would call me the next day and say, hey, Ann, I need that tile by tomorrow. And I'd say, you can't get it for 3 weeks. And then their project would be delayed and the homeowner would be upset. And it was just chaos from the very, very beginning. So you want to make sure that whomever you hire has a process. We at Cipriani have a 5-step process. It starts with listening, then we design, then we refine, we define, and we ultimately build. So I want to break those down for you because they are extremely important steps in your process. So listening, I personally think listening is the most important step in all of this. You are going to have a beautiful project. You are going to have a project that is built well and constructed well. But if we're not listening to you, then nothing's going to go the way you want. So when we come into your home, the first thing we do is we ask you to sit at your kitchen table and talk to you a little bit about your project. I want to know everything. I want to know if you're a left-handed cook, or if you're left-handed, I want to know if there's 3 cooks in your kitchen or 1 cook in your kitchen. I want to know, where your mixer is. I want to know where you're putting your crock pot. I want to know all those things. So we're going to talk and have a nice conversation so that I can understand your project very well. Someone who comes into your home with a clipboard and a tape measure and says, okay, show me the bathroom, lady, you don't want them. You want someone who's really going to sit and listen to you and talk about everything. I also think it's important for you to learn about the company. So just as important for us to learn about you, I want you to know everything about the company because that's who you're hiring. Like Pam said, you're hiring the person that you could feel most comfortable with. We take lots of notes. We eventually do measure. We eventually do take a lot of pictures so that we can come back and we can create a project for you just as we've discussed at your home. I also, before we leave, it's important for you to understand what the next steps are. What's going to happen after today? What do you expect from the next visit? What can you expect if you start, doing a project with that contractor? Step 2 is the fun part for us because we get to design the project as you've described to us. We will take everything that we've heard and we will develop a 2D drawing and a 3D drawing so that when we meet again at our second appointment, you'll have a chance to actually visualize everything that we talked about. We're going to explore preliminary layouts. We'll align your vision with function. I said earlier the design's going to happen. Your kitchen or your bathroom or whatever project is going to be beautiful, but I want to know that it functions well. I want to know that you have a home for your mixer or home for your blender. I want to know that everything is going to work well. So we're not just going to look at design. We're not just going to look at the pretty. We're going to look at more technical things like the function of your kitchen. We're going to give you an investment range. At this point of the project, nobody should be able to say your kitchen is going to be $99,252.76. We have to give you a range because we've only met with you for maybe an hour. We've only, gotten to know a little bit about what you want. We'll give you a range so that when we develop the project, we can then figure out exactly what direction we're going. Maybe we go a little higher, maybe we go a little lower. This is where our budget aligns with your vision a little bit better. So you get to see a lot with the design. Now, when you come to our office for a second appointment where you get to view the design, all of these things are something that we do complimentary. We show you the design. You'll be able to see that beautiful picture on the computer. You'll be able to see a 2D version and an elevation drawing and a 3D version. Most companies, a lot of companies I should say, charge for this service. So at Cipriani, we feel that this is something that kind of shows you who we are and what we can do. So I think this is our way to make you feel comfortable about us. And if someone can't provide that to you, I'd be a little bit frightened of using them. You definitely want something who's just going to, who is going to share that vision with you and at no cost. Our estimates aren't one page. A lot of times when you do, how many times have you guys had somebody come in and the contractor gave you a one-page estimate that says, yeah, I'm going to replace your tub, yeah, I'm going to change your shower, yeah, I'm going to do your tile, and it's X amount of dollars. Have you ever seen those estimates? They're just one small little page. So our estimates are a packet. So this is a typical estimate that we have, and it outlines every single thing that's going to be happening in your project, from demolition to waste removal to electric to plumbing to framing to drywall to insulation. So everything that we're going to be doing, you're going to have a clear understanding what that is, so that when the project continues to get developed, there's no questions. So we try to eliminate all the questions with having a very clear, concise estimate for you. What's next? So after this point, you should probably feel comfortable with your contractor. You should think, okay, yep, that's Cipriani. Ann was really nice. I think we're going to move forward with her. And at this point, we move forward into the further developing of the project. Step 3 and Step 4 are where we have fun with you. This is where you're involved. This is where we together go and design your project perfectly. We had preliminary drawings. Now we're going to get a bit more technical. We're going to do site visits. We're going to fine-tune the layouts. We're going to shop for materials. We're going to really think about that budget and try to align it with, the design and your expectation, and we're going to do some documentation. The site visit is one of the first things that we'll do. So remember, we've been at your house. We came to your house for maybe an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. That's not enough time for us to fully understand your project, so we're going to come back again, and we're going to bring a couple of our team members to look at your project a little bit more technical. Karen's thinking about taking down a wall, and it might be great to take down a wall. We're not going to wait till construction starts to find out what's in Karen's wall. We're going to go to do a site visit, and we might take a peek. We might scope into the wall. We might poke a little hole in the wall. We want to know everything that's happening on your project well before construction begins. Not having that step just would cause confusion once construction begins. So we try to do this so that all those things that we worry about that you see on HGTV all the time, where they go to knock down a wall and they call the homeowner and says, oh gosh, I'm so sorry, it's going to be $10,000 more. We try to avoid all those things by doing a proper site visit. Renderings, you saw the preliminary renderings at the second appointment, but our renderings are going to get much more technical. We'll have exact layouts, we'll have lighting plans, we'll have electric plans, we'll have many more details. You'll see the 2D image now has dimensions on it. Then you'll be able to see better elevations, and then you'll be able to see a 3D image, which really gives you a good idea of what your space looks. This project on the bottom, I'll point up here, I have a screen back here. So this project just finished, and the dust protection was still all over the kitchen, but I wanted to take a picture today when I was there, but everything was still a little bit dust protected, but it looks exactly like this. So what you see up here is usually what happens in the finished product. Documentation. Documentation is the key to a successful project. I've done documentation for a project as little as 60 pages. I've done documentation for a project as many as 750 pages. So this is a typical sized documentation that we do for your project. So just like we do our estimate, we do our documentation of your agreement exactly the same way. It starts with area preparation, continues to demo, then waste removal and framing and plumbing and all of the details. You'll see very detailed plans with measurements and highlights. You'll have every make, model, color, description of everything we're putting in your house and a description of how we're going to do it. So this is a really good way for you to feel comfortable about the project. This book is designed so that I can leave this book on the driveway. You can go on vacation, I can go on vacation, and the project manager could pick this up and build exactly what we planned. We don't have to be there to babysit him. He can follow exactly what we had planned. So this is a really great step, and it really relieves a lot of confusion. Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
And I'm sure most of us in the room have gone through this. If what you're saying is correct, if you're evaluating contractors or builders primarily on the criterion of cost, you're really going about ass backwards.
Oh, absolutely.
So if, I think a lot of us say, well, can you do a bathroom or a kitchen for X number of dollars? And they'll probably say yes. But using that as the primary criterion really doesn't get you anywhere because it's kind of like putting the cart before the horse.
Exactly.
How do you avoid that at the outset?
Your investment is important to us, right? You know, everybody has a certain amount of money that they want to invest into the project. Sometimes that works great. Your investment aligns well with what you want to do, and sometimes it doesn't. And we would like to have a realistic conversation with you on that. Where am I going with this?
People haven't done this type of project in a very long time, and costs are different. So she's going to explain to you how and why and what would be needed to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So to your point, you said, if I tell someone I want to invest X and they're going to say yes to that, what pitfalls might exist after that? Well, that could be change orders. That could be change orders because they didn't do their proper due diligence with the site visits that we do. So ask them overall, what happens after today? Okay, Mr. Contractor, you say you can do it for X, but what assurances are you going to give me? How can I know exactly what I am getting, and what can you put in writing for me?
What does that include?
What does that include?
Because I did tell you it doesn't include materials.
Very frequently, that is something that a contractor might say they're either going to underrepresent proper allowances or they haven't included those at all. But if you put down a big deposit with somebody, because that is often another request of theirs, well, give me 30%, give me whatever, and I'll tell you how that's going to happen. You want to be in the driver's seat, or you want to work with a company that wants to be your partner in making sure that you feel comfortable with knowing exactly what you're getting, or how someone's going to take you through the entire selection process, that investigation, and then giving you the real investment level with all of the details before the project begins.
Does that help?
Helpful?
Yeah, it's helpful, but I think probably, again, I'm just surmising, that most of us have seen ads on TV or their friends say, well, we did the bathroom and it should cost $35,000. Well, what are you actually getting for the $35,000, and how do you then choose that contractor really before you've had an opportunity to figure what is actually included? Because they'll say, well, you know, ceramic tile, where you could spend X number of dollars or 3 times X number of dollars, and it's hard to know up front how to evaluate the contractor.
It is, and that's why you have to ask a lot of questions, and that's why the contractor has to be very straightforward with you too. They should be providing you with the documentation to tell you what they're doing. They should be telling you exactly what's going to happen in your project. They should be talking about the building techniques. So if they're not giving you enough information early on, then I'd be a little bit frightened to use them. So you want to make sure that you shouldn't be required to ask the questions like, what are you doing? How are you going to do it? How much is it going to be? That should all be presented to you. A contractor has to work for your business, and in order for them to give you what you need, they have to be telling you. So if they're not, and you're not getting the answers, then that's probably a good sign that wouldn't be a good person to use. Sure.
Can I
Yeah.
just ask a question about design process? But one of my question is, when we are designing the project, what if the pieces of that project we still want to retain that you have right now? I want to build on top of it. The reason that I'm asking, I worked with designer till a year and a half ago in the rest of my house, and she retired, and she was a lovely lady. But her goal was to destroy everything and bring everything new. I wanted to preserve something that is in that house because it had a history and
Yeah.
it had memories there. And that's where, I'm trying to understand if the pieces of the project, for example, that you want to retain the fireplace or this part or that part, whatever, are designers able to work
Absolutely.
and incorporate that so everything makes sense rather than be able to destroy everything, put everything new, and then just kind of how it is.
Absolutely, positively, yes, we are. Take an addition, for example. When we do an addition, we want it to look like it belongs in your house. We don't want to make it look like it's a brand new addition and, oh, look at the left side of the house has an addition. I think making your house a home has to do with your personality. In a bit, I'm going to talk about styles and what's hot and what's popular. You might not like any of the styles that are popular now, and it's okay. I think your house should be a reflection of your personality. So that's part of the listening part, where we sit with you and we talk about things. And if you have that cherished memory of, I love this fireplace, or I love this rocking chair, it has to stay, you need to find a place for it. Absolutely, positively, that needs to stay. So a designer needs to understand a little bit about what you want. And yes, for sure, we do recognize that.
Can you clarify, you are not a contracting firm?
We are a design build firm, so part of what we do is build.
If I'm starting a project and I don't have a contractor, can you guys get?
Yes, well, we are. No, we are the contractor.
I just want to make sure.
We are the contractor.
Kind of talking about, like, should we go get a contractor?
No. We are the. I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear. I'm going to get to the build process in a minute because that is step 5 of our process. So yeah, but that's why you want a design build firm, because we take it from the very beginning all the way to the very end, and we do a darn good job building too. So anyway, all right, so that was documentation. So we talked a little bit about, the steps so far of what you should do to start a project and to start with the process of choosing your builder. Let's talk a little bit about design styles. What is popular now? And again, you might love the styles now, you might not like the styles now. For years and years and years, we've done lots of white kitchens. So I would do a white kitchen with a quartz countertop, and then guess what? I would do a white kitchen with a quartz countertop. And then I did another white kitchen with a quartz countertop. So for years and years and years, we've done white. And when you come to our showroom, you'll see a lot of pictures on our walls that have a lot of white kitchens in it. And they're beautiful, they're lovely, but we are so excited that the styles are changing a little bit because we're tired of white kitchens. But if you want a white kitchen, that's perfectly fine. You are welcome to do a white kitchen. What's happening with white, though, so see these stark white walls, how they're nice and white, and a lot of the kitchens of the past couple of years have been stark white. But what's happening with white is it's getting just a little bit warmer. So it's not as stark white as it was, it's just a little bit warmer than it used to be. So we are still doing the white kitchens, we are still doing the quartz, it's still lovely, but what has become more popular and what has come back is wood tones. So the white oaks and the nice warm tones have all come back into style, and they're quite beautiful in a kitchen. You can mix it with white. Say you don't want to do your entire kitchen, you just want to spruce a couple things up. You can change your island to a wood tone and you could have a whole new fresh look. So some of the looks here on the computer are still white kitchens, but this kitchen has a little bit of a creamier tone, and then this kitchen has all of the wood look. Color is popular too for cabinets and walls. A nice dark green cabinet. Does this appeal to anybody for a nice dark green color? Navy blue. Navy blue is very popular. So the deep color tones are beautiful as well. So it's kind of become a little bit more of a sophisticated look instead of that white stark look is what's been happening in the design styles lately. And I call it design styles because It is a style. I'm not a trendy person. I think there is a place in your home for trends. I love trends. I think there's a place in your home for trends, but they're the things that you could change quickly and easily. You don't go with the trendiest thing for something that's going to be there for the next 40 years. Color tones on your walls have gotten a little darker and cozier and warmer. The latest Benjamin Moore color of the year is Universal Khaki and Silhouette, which are darker colors, warmer colors. White oak cabinetry I talked about. Mixing metals. For so long, we've been like, oh, I have to have brass, or oh, I have to have chrome, I have to have black everywhere. Now you can mix those metals. You can do chrome and brass. You could do a light fixture that's black and a faucet that's gold and a stainless steel appliance. So you can mix all those. It's okay, and it actually really creates a beautiful look. Earth tones, well, the colors, yeah.
I just have a question about where, maybe this is later on in the presentation and you could say, hold on. All the materials and all the bathtubs, the sinks, the countertops, do we go to one place? Or like, do you shop around? Are we like looking on Amazon or?
So our job is to make it easier for you. We don't ever want to take you in somewhere and say, hey, here's 67 toilets. Which one do you want? We get to understand what kind of toilet you like. Do you want a comfort height? Do you want an elongated toilet? Do you want a sleek skirt? Or do you want, other things? So we're going to talk to you about different things that you like, and then we're going to be able to narrow it down for you. And I'm going to be able to say, here are 3 toilets that I recommend. Which one do you like? We do take you to places to choose your materials, but when I bring you here to Avalon, I will have a little selection already narrowed down for you. And we could expand from that, but my job is to make it easier for you and not overwhelming. Same with bath fixtures. We will, a lot of times I don't take people to look for bath fixtures. I can just show them, here's a great fixture from Kohler, or here's a beautiful fixture from Delta. So we will go, if you want to go to 1,000 places and look for things, we'll do that. But our job is to try to make it easier for you so you don't have to go to 1,000 places.
Is there any trends on backsplashing?
Pam's probably going to talk about that in just a minute. So we're going to let her talk about the backsplash trends. Yes, if you walk back into the showroom, oh my goodness, backsplashes are amazing. Statement pieces. When you're doing your design, think about some statement pieces. Years ago, shadow boxing was really popular, and then shadow boxing wasn't so popular anymore, but it's all back now. Beautiful shadow boxing and wainscoting is gorgeous. Color drenching. Color drenching is when you paint your entire room the same color. The walls, the ceiling, the baseboard, all your trims are all the same color. When you first think about it, you're like, oh, really? But when it's done, like the picture in the blue behind me, it is magnificent and absolutely gorgeous. Little story about color drenching. Many years ago, when I had to repaint my kids' rooms over and over and over again because they always made a mess of them, I was painting their rooms and I messed up and I got paint on the ceiling. And I thought, oh, well, I'll just paint the ceiling. So I painted the ceiling the same color. And then I got paint on the trim. I'm like, oh, well, I'll just paint the trim the same color. But guess what? I was the one who invented color drenching. Timber material. Timber material is a great accent. As the middle picture, this is timber. It's like a slat wall that you could use as an accent on a wall. Very striking, very sophisticated, different types of timber material. Statement lighting, we're not doing little tiny pendants anymore above your island. We're doing big, beautiful, striking pendants that really make a bold statement. Arches, did someone say something about arches earlier? Somebody was talking about arches earlier. Take a doorway and make it an arch. Wow, what a look. It just looks absolutely beautiful. So we'll try to incorporate some statement pieces in your project so it's not just a cookie cutter project. Countertops, does anyone have an opinion about countertops? Anyone? Yeah, okay. There's a lot out there. There's marble, there's soapstone, there's all kinds of exotics out there, but we usually use one of 3. So the first one you're probably more familiar with is granite. A lot of our kitchens have granite in it because that's been the popular for many, many years. Granite kind of went a little bit out of style, and then quartz came in. So granite is, just to talk about granite is a man-made product, comes from the earth, tends to be a little bit busier pattern than some of the other products. It does have to be sealed. on a regular basis, like maybe once a year you give seal, but you can pretty much do a lot with granite. It's a very durable product. Granite is a very durable product, I should say. The next one is quartz, which is what the trend over the past couple of years, the past 10 years, I would say, has been. Quartz typically comes in a white background with subtle veining or very strong veining. People love quartz. It is a man-made product. It's made with quartz and resins, so it's very, very durable. You do not have to seal it, which a lot of people like that. So if you left your bottle of Coca-Cola on there, it would be okay. Don't recommend doing that, but it would be okay. The only thing you can't do with quartz is you can't put a hot pot on there. So if you take your pot off of the stove and you put it on the countertop, it's going to burn a ring in it. So keep that in mind with quartz. Quartz used to be predominantly white. When you would look at all the quartzes, it would just be aisles and aisles and aisles of quartz in a white finish, but they are coming out with more beigey tones to match some of the natural colors. So they are coming out with some warmer tones. So it's nice to see the change in that. And the last one I'll talk about is called quartzite. This is the #1 best-selling stone anywhere. This is called Taj Mahal. It's a quartzite material. It's a natural stone that comes from the earth. So what you see that comes from the earth is what you get. Every slab is just a little bit different, so there's a lot of variation, it's a lot of creativity, and it's just beautiful. Quartz is very durable as well, and I would compare its durability to that of granite. Does have to be sealed, and if you seal it on a regular basis, you should be fine. You shouldn't have any problems with any of the wearability of quartzite. Any questions on countertops? We can talk more about that later if you have specific questions about that, but anybody? On the quartzite, yes, you can. I'm gonna kind of have a caution there. I don't recommend that you put a hot pot on any stone surface. But when you compare it to quartz versus quartzite, technically it's more durable, but I would never recommend that you take a hot pot off of your stove and put it directly on a countertop.
That was the question.
Yeah. The possibility of nothing happening are greater with granite and quartzite, but I still wouldn't recommend it. So, okay. Bathrooms. So bathrooms are beautiful. It has become a spa now in bathrooms. What is the most popular now in bathrooms is, I don't know, if anyone has an 80s-ish house, you probably have a gigantic garden tub, you probably have a tiny, tiny shower, and you probably never use that garden tub. So what everybody's doing now is they're taking out that garden tub, they're making their shower bigger, and they're doing a freestanding tub. There's so many things that people are doing with bathrooms. People are making the bathtub and the shower one area. They call it a wet room. They're doing jets and steam showers, and the bathrooms have become like the best room in the house. You can do everything in the bathrooms. So Pam's going to talk a little bit more about some of the tile trends that you can do in bathrooms and floors.
Yes, and I'll touch on the backsplashes as well. So thank you all for coming tonight and welcoming us. Some of the, we're definitely making a statement with tile. We've gone from safe to personal. It's about you. Tile is now a statement. You can bring in your moody colors, your blues, your greens, your warm neutrals. Think cozy. Even one statement area can change the whole project. I love this one. I'm a big blue fan too. Moroccan tile. Very popular right now. Ungulated edges, unevenness, a little rough, but it's definitely popular right now, and it gives all those warm neutral tones. But the biggest one is our large formats. They're everywhere.
That's it. That's the one out there that I love.
What's everyone think of that? It's gorgeous. You can do one wall with that. A little bit goes a long way. but these are large formats. Your 24 by 48s. They're being used on shower walls, accent walls, even on the floors, throughout entire first floor in some cases. He's not in here right now. Fluted tiles, going to her tambour texture. Comes in many colors, just not wood grain. So you can do wood ones, you can do tile ones. You can do them in green, blue, purple, orange, and use them anywhere you want.
You can bring.
What was that?
You can bring.
Porcelain tile that looks like marble.
You can bring.
Beautiful, and you do not have any maintenance on it. Totally maintenance free, no sealing.
You can bring.
By far a lot less expensive, and you still achieve the same look. And some of these products, like the Donatella, you would never even find the match on the pattern. They're so well made.
You can bring.
That's a statement bathroom.
You can bring.
Going back to the tubs, we do see a lot of the freestanding tubs, and not the ones we have to climb over a big thing to get to.
You can bring.
Warm tones. To the warm white that Anne had here, we're really just seeing only warmer whites. This is an example of it. This is a new tile, comes in a large format, comes in small, can be used on a backsplash as well. It's back to that creamier tones, the softer tones, everything's soft.
You can bring.
We go from 24 by 48s to 5 foot by 10 foot porcelain slabs.
You can bring.
So I don't know how familiar anyone is in this room with this. Again, it's not real. Go get a slab of quartz, and for a whole lot less, you can have porcelain and achieve the same look and zero grout joints.
You can bring.
But no grout. No grout. Everyone hears that, right? No grout. Maintenance free. No grout? What's that? It's porcelain panels.
Oh, they just blend together.
Yes.
5 foot like that.
They're 5 foot by 10 foot, the panels,
So 5 foot.
and they're siliconed. No grout is used with them. So, and since because they're a thin panel, they go together unlike your typical porcelain tiles. Yes.
You can bring.
There are available styles to go on the floor. I'd say there's much more wall applications than there is floor. So there's a couple matte finishes that can go on a floor. I really haven't seen anyone do that. You can use a pan with it, but usually, like Rianne said, the wet rooms doing all of the walls. And in your handicap bathrooms, your curbless, aging in place, zero maintenance, and the only thing, no curb to get into the shower.
You can bring.
The polished ones are slippery. You would not put those on the floor, but the ones that are matte or made for it can be go on a wall or a floor. She brought up Taj Mahal as being the #1 selling. This is also the #1 selling for us, is the Taj Mahal porcelain panel.
You can bring.
And I have done this to the panel, and you cannot see the difference between them. That piece is so heavy.
So $180 a square foot or $30 a square foot or whatever.
Not even 30.
Yeah.
No, it's I'm going to say it's like 15 or 18. Like it's huge.
In that size.
Mhm.
You can bring.
Vanity trends. Seeing the same thing that Anne's seeing with the warmer wood tones. Some more detail seeing that.
You can bring.
See the green on the back of the wall there. It just sets the whole mood for the room. Vanity is so interesting. It's the same vanity on both those pictures. One with feet or one without. You don't necessarily have to have feet. It could be wall hung. I do too. When you see it together, right? Little things. Where are you going to put your shampoo bottle at? How many products do you use? Just like Ann was saying, she's going to ask where your blender is at. Without asking those things, you're going to be left with nowhere to put anything. So the little things make all the difference. Storage is important. Comes with hooks right on the shelves for your sponge. Thank you. Backsplashes, I would say, seeing a lot of people using color, but a color that just has movement to it. Not so much white Subway. Not seeing it as much. That can be done. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing to do. Yes.
That is a special look.
I've seen it with both too, where they do it behind the stove with the slab and then tile on the other parts. Or maybe it's the coffee bar that gets some special mosaic tile. You don't have to do something busy throughout. You can make an area special. She likes that.
I have a rule with backsplashes and countertops. So I like to go into, there's statement pieces that'll happen in your house, but I like to do a room where nothing stands out as, oh my goodness, look at your countertop, or oh my goodness, look at your backsplash. I want people to come in and say, oh my goodness, look at your kitchen. I don't want one thing to shine too much. So if you have a busy countertop with a lot of movement in it, I often recommend a quieter backsplash. If you have a very quiet countertop, you could do a little bit more jazzy on the backsplash. So these are some of the secrets that are going to make your kitchen or your bathroom come together a lot nicer.
And that's why we're going to listen to your wants and needs and what you want.
So one of our trade partners that we work with is Avalon, and we align ourselves with very talented people. Well, I might not know everything about the latest tile out there or the latest hardwood floor out there, but that's why we have people like Pam who we work with. So,
Are people using anything besides house for the backsplash, like just copper or any of those materials? Not anymore.
No, I haven't seen that. I've seen a couple, maybe home shows or something where they put some textured wallpaper up, but that's about it. I haven't really seen that in real life.
I just did a PVC wainscoting on the back of a backsplash. It was a country kitchen. They wanted some, wainscoting, those beadboard panels. So I just did something like that. So I have seen the copper. We've done the copper. It's not tile. It would be more like a metal piece. Yeah, sheet. Yeah. Anything goes, right? If you love it, we'll find it for you.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the countertops. You don't carry them here at Avalon, right?
No.
Okay.
That is
a certain company that you deal with?
We do. We have a couple suppliers that we'll take you to, and that's probably the one place that I'm going to walk you through the warehouse or their showroom, because I think countertops are a piece of art, really, and I think it has to speak to you. And somebody always, has an idea of the countertop they want, and when I take them to the actual showroom, they're like, "Oh my God, I have to have that one," because it just speaks to you. There's movement. It's like a picture. So I do like to walk you up and down the aisles to look at the different selections. So there's a couple local places that we use for that. Okay. All right, so now you're ready to build your project. Finally, it's about darn time, right? So our build process is just as defined as our design process. So we're going to leave that book for the project manager. We're going to introduce you to the project manager. The project manager and his team are going to take you through the process of building. This is our production team. We have carpenters, we have project managers, we have lead carpenters, we have apprentices. So we have a whole team of people who are going to help to make your project work well. Your main point of contact at this point is your project manager. The designer is still there, but nobody needs the designer to help them build. I would use sew tape and my glue gun, so you definitely don't want me there. But the project manager will handle your project with a lot of precision and a lot of talent. Our team is fantastic. They are all around good guys. I was at a project the other day and I couldn't find Nick. His truck was there. I'm like, where the heck is Nick? Here he was out walking the family dog. So they're great. They're going to be in your house for a while, so you want someone who's going to be able to hang out with you. They will provide excellent dust protection. That is one of the standards that is extremely important to Cipriani. Everywhere we walk, everywhere we touch, we protect. So you'll have temporary walls so that we can keep us away from you as best we possibly can. We will be in your house. There is dust. It is construction, but we try to mitigate it as best we possibly can. You'll be provided with a schedule. And this is huge in talking to contractors. You want to know, how long are you going to be in my house and when the heck are you going to get out? So you want to be provided with a schedule from anybody you work with. We give you a schedule that says this is when we start and this is when we finish, and you can see what's happening in between. That is one thing we're very proud of is our schedules and trying to stay to our schedules. A lot of smaller contractors, they have to be running 5, 6 jobs at a time in order for them to be profitable. But how can they run 5, 6 jobs at a time when they're small? So what a lot of times happens is they'll start your job, they'll be there for 2 weeks, they'll leave for 2 weeks, they'll come back for 2 weeks, and oh, they've got to go again. So you want someone who's going to be on your job and you want to know the schedule. Clear communication. We communicate with you on a regular basis, which is whether they see you every day or we communicate through our online Builder Trend, which is our online service where you can see what's going on in your project. We have a lot of quality control measures after your project is finished. Kevin, our production manager, will come out to your home and you will think it's all perfect because it looks perfect, but Kevin's going to find something on your project that needs to be touched up just a bit. So we have a lot of measures set in place to make sure that your project is done properly and well. So this pretty much sums up everything I talked about today. A successful remodeling project isn't just about the great design. It's about having a process that protects that design. And from the very first day we meet you till the very last day we say goodbye, we hope that we have maintained that for you and done a great job. And eventually you will get the big reveal of your project and you will be a happy homeowner just like the rest of Cipriani's clients. So. Ken, you want to talk about what
Sure. I want to talk more about the big reveal. I want to see how each and every one of you here tonight can have your own big reveal, and for us to be a part of that. Yes.
I have a question about the schedule. What happens if it's not good and the project's done? What does Cipriani?
I bet that's a big concern for you and for a lot of people, right? What kind of guarantee, what kind of promises might you have? Are they giving you a schedule that is realistic? And a lot of that goes to what is their experience and are they juggling a bunch of jobs compared to a project manager who's dedicated to see yours through. So our schedules are based on our experience and understanding your project so that we can deliver that to our finish date. And we have all of those people that you saw up there in the picture. When we need to mobilize more people to keep your project moving along, we have that roster that we can rely on. So there are no guarantees, but what you want to do is to know that somebody that you're trusting to be in your home has the experience to deliver what they're promising.
There are challenges with construction. We have to have inspections come to your house, and sometimes we're ready for the inspector on Monday and he can't come till the following Tuesday, and we're kind of stuck. We can't do a whole lot in the meantime. So there are times that maybe the project will slow down, but we communicate that with you as it goes so that we let you know, oh, we're a couple of days behind, but we're going to try to pick it up here. So we're not just going to surprise you at the end and say, whoops, we didn't do it. So we'll try our best.
All of your projects have change budget.
Have a
Change budget.
like a contingency kind of, well, no, they shouldn't need to have one because everything has been selected. Not only has it been selected, but we know how we're installing it. I love to use the example of tile. A subway tile is a little bit more straightforward in its installation, but a herringbone tile is not. It requires more time. So when you have everything figured out, you don't need to have a contingency because it's all been priced.
I'll give you a very specific example. If you don't see the plumbing, say in a bathroom, and all of a sudden you've signed the contract, and you open up the walls, and the plumbing isn't exactly what you thought it would be.
Sure.
Stuff happens. I mean, how do you account for it?
Well, we account for it in our step 3 of our process, as Ann was covering, where we are refining and defining your project. One of the first steps in refining your project is understanding the existing conditions. So she spoke about the site visits that we perform and those little holes that we will put into your wall so that we can see are there issues that can be discovered, and that's really the responsible thing to do, is that type of due diligence. We're removing surprises, we're eliminating those kinds of delays, which means you shouldn't need a contingency. But if you are someone who feels that's important, I think that a 5% contingency with the right planning like we were discussing could be the right balance for you. Yes?
Do you use subcontractors?
We have trade partner relationships with certain tasks that are done. For example, electric and plumbing. We don't carry our own electric license. So we think of our relationships more as trade partners because we've used them for a very long time. They have been vetted. They understand our standards for high quality work, for respecting someone's home, for communication and being reliable. So yes, subcontractors, as they're commonly known, are used by every general contracting business. We are not unique in that way, but we have, I think, just top quality guys for it. We're not flipping through the phone book looking for someone who can do a certain task.
Every one of our trade partners, I could call at any time of the day, middle of the night, and call, John, I need you. Like you would think that they're our employees because they work so closely with us. So we don't like to use the word subcontractors because we don't look that way. We look at them as partners.
Yes.
How many projects can you handle at a time? And how many crews you have? And just trying to understand the timeline. Like if I say I want to get my kitchen remodeled, how long do that process?
Well, we have several different project managers. Some of them do run more than one project at a time. We do roughly 80 projects per year, but I know that wasn't quite your question, so let's talk about when should somebody start planning, because what could be the duration of good productive planning, and what does that mean for then, once that planning is done and you've okayed your agreement, when could somebody get started? My simple advice is it's never too soon to start your planning. And this means that you can take your time in discovering all of the right materials, the right solutions, things of that nature. If you're looking to have your project probably completed by the end of the summer, that might be a big challenge at this point. Did you have a specific end date in mind?
No, I just wanted to like.
Okay, correct. It does. So if you're hoping for a big reveal, and that's what I wanted to talk about. How can somebody start planning and have their big reveal? When you checked in, you spoke with Crystal and Madison from our company. We would love for each and every one of you to take the advantage of our first 2 steps, those complimentary steps of us coming out to your home and having more conversations about your goals. And so if you sign up tonight to meet with one of our designers, you'll receive a $25 gift card that will be delivered by your designer when they come to your home. As I mentioned, our designers are available to speak with you one-on-one about your project. And so as we conclude, you can speak with some of them and start that brainstorming. So I want to thank everyone again for showing up tonight, and thank you very much.
Thank you.